Hello. Hello, my friends. It is good to be here. It is going to be extremely hot here today. And I should say that's relatively extremely hot for Wisconsin. Decisions, decisions, decisions. That's our topic today. I had been doing some research on something and I came across this theory. And it was about decision making. And actually seen it in a couple different contexts. And so I wanted to share some things. And the reason I want to talk about this, why is talking about decision making? Maybe you're a successful professional. If you're here, you're a successful professional and you are making decisions all the time. And we make all sorts of decisions. What do I want for breakfast? What am I going to wear today? Should I go to this event? Um, should we go out to dinner? Should I apply for that promotion? There's all sorts of decisions. Some of them very simple. What am I going to wear today? I haven't worn this dress in a while. There's all these different decisions. Simple decisions. What am I going to wear? And maybe that's a little more complex depending on the event you're going to. Maybe if it's a gala, it might be a little bit different a less simple decision. But for the more complex decisions, there's kind of two schools of thought on how we approach these decisions. For some, it's sit down, really put focused attention on it. And I'm trying to think, I just I didn't write it down. And there's one theory, attention, it's ART. And now I can't remember what it is. Anyway, focused attention, when you are really putting focused attention on something, maybe for a complex decision, you're writing out some pros and cons, or you're writing out all of the criteria. You maybe create a set of criteria for a particular decision. I remember when we were doing software, picking a software for a project that we were doing at a local manufacturer here. And we had all these different criteria of what did the software need to do and what did the integrator need to provide. And so there's all of this complex kinds of things we can do and put focused attention on it. And another way is some people might just keep thinking about it. They're ruminating about it. It might keep them up at night. It might be something that you're poring over and over and over and over. Maybe you ask a friend, maybe you talk it over with your spouse, maybe you really just journal about it. Maybe there's all these things where you are consciously putting effort into making the decision. There is another school of thought on this. There's another way to go about this. And maybe it's a blend of these two versus one or the other, is unconscious thought theory. And I know that there's some debate as to how valid some of the experiments are, that these experiments were, but there have been several different studies that have shown that this unconscious thought theory. So what is it? It states that when you're thinking about all right, let me start over with this. Unconscious thought theory states that thinking about a complex problem unconsciously can result in better solutions than conscious deliberation. Okay. There's another way to say that, because that just seems weird. What does that mean? How can I think unconsciously? If I'm thinking, then it's conscious. So how am I thinking unconsciously? Unconscious thought is processing in the absence of conscious attention. So instead of directing our constant conscious attention at a problem, we go do something else. And sometimes when I do this, I will actually direct my brain, okay, I'm going to go do something else, but in the background, I want you to be thinking about what we need to do for this particular project. How are we going to go about this particular, solving this particular problem? And What do you do instead? There are different ways to do it. You can do something creative. You can draw, paint, color, build something with Legos, play a game. You could do something active. Go for a walk in nature, go for a bike ride, enjoy the nature around you. While you're doing these walks, don't like consciously think about the problem. Let your unconscious brain do that. Why is that? We have so much more capacity. Our conscious brain, what we're using is less than 10% of our full brain capacity. When we put our unconscious brain to work on something, we've got so much more processing available to us. We've got so much more capacity. And I've heard many people who've actually said, who've put this to the test, where, when they do something active, or when they're, I've referred to it in the past as active rest. And when you allow your brain, there's two things about this. When you allow your brain that active rest, number one, it's still working. You giving your conscious brain the rest, and your unconscious mind is still working on the problem, still working on making that decision, still working on a solution, depending on how you're approaching it. So for example, the promotion. Let's say you're not sure you want to go for this promotion, or you're not sure how you want to approach the interview if you have decided to go for it. Instead of, doing all the different things, focusing on it, ruminating about it, going for a walk, and still thinking about it, put it I had an old boss who used to say, put it on the B drive. For those of you who remember the computers with an A and B drive, I'm dating myself. Yes. Put it on the back burner. So it is putting it out of your conscious attention so that you allow your brain to do more work. Why? Why, you ask? Because what they find is that you will have 20% minimum, 20% better decisions, better solutions to the problems that you're solving. And so really and the other part of this that it also connects to, that I wanted to share, I've talked in the past about deep work, about blocking time on your calendar for deep work. So when you are planning that time to really use that prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, being able to actually put your attention on something very specifically for a couple of hours to work through something. If you do this active rest beforehand, it will make the work in your deep work even that more productive. And the same thing in the evenings. If you allow your brain to rest, if you allow this prefrontal cortex to rest and put your attention somewhere else, play a game, go to go for a run and listen to some music, dance, do something, play, build Legos, play with your kids, read a book, a novel, a non-work related book. So allow your brain that rest time. And if you do this in the evenings, if you do this for 10 minutes before you're going to be doing some deep work, you will be 20% minimum more productive. So bottom line, give your brain, your active, your conscious thinking brain, a rest. Give it a rest. How many have heard that before? I have. Give it a rest. Give this a rest, because when you allow that to rest and put this unconscious mind to work, 20% better decisions, 20% more productive, whether that's, in the evenings, 20% better the next day, or just before you're about to do some deep work, 20% better decisions, 20% more productive. That's all I have for you today. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday. Have a great week.